Hi folks, welcome to week 4 of Prep with a Pro, and it's been an interesting week, and we'll get into the diet and where I'm at later. But this week I thought I'd cover the importance of sleep, primarily because it's been stinkingly hot this week in Melbourne, and I don't have air conditioning in my bedroom, and it doesn't get any airflow through. So by sort of like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I just had no sleep at all. So I've been sleeping on the couch this week, and it's just not been ideal, and it's resulted in a whole load of things. But let's start with you're all familiar with the saying, eat, sleep, train, repeat. Now there's a really good reason that those three things are in that order. If you don't eat right, that affects your sleep, and if you don't sleep right, that affects your training. Now, if you look at it from the reverse, if you don't train right, well, that doesn't affect your sleep, and if you don't sleep right, that doesn't affect your eating. So it's in eat, sleep, train, repeat for a very good reason, because eat is critical, and that affects both of the others. Sleep is critical; it affects your training, and the training is actually probably the third most important thing on the list. And there's a this week I've really felt that because like I say, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday I just didn't sleep. I was skating by on about 2 hours of sleep, and unfortunately I've been getting really tired during the day, so I've actually hit the coffee this week. I've had like 4 coffees this week, which is probably a bit too much, and the combination of like lack of sleep and coffee, I've really started to feel that I'm not as recovered as I thought I was, because by Wednesday I literally turned up at the gym and I was just so exhausted that I got halfway through my warm-up on my legs. I was supposed to be doing legs, and I always do sort of a lot of band work just to activate my glutes. And I fell asleep. I was on the mat and I fell asleep, and I only woke up when my trainer kicked the football at me. So he just said, "How are you going?" I said, I can't do legs this week. I just can't." So I totally wimped out of legs. We did shoulders instead, because it doesn't. I love shoulders, so it doesn't matter what state I'm in. I can always bang out a good shoulder session. But legs, I really have to be in the mood. And the fact that I'd fallen asleep during my band work activation was kind of an indication that I probably wasn't in the right state to do legs. Anyway, so sleep is very critical, and on Wednesday, like I say, from Wednesday on, the rest of the week I've been sleeping on the couch because the air conditioner, with the air conditioning whacked up full volume, to make sure it's cold enough that I can sleep, and because I just don't deal with the heat, and I've all week I've just felt like I've been melting, so it's been very hard, and actually that's why I'm kind of in bed now, or just lying on my bed resting, because I really feel that it's impacted me. Like I say, I don't feel that I'm potentially as recovered as I thought I was. This week I felt like I've had a bit of a setback. So that's really I guess my main thing for this week. I'm actually doing a DEXA scan on Friday, before I go away to South Africa, and I think that's going to be really interesting because I'm starting to get people commenting on how sort of how I'm starting to shape up. I'm not 100% sure of where I'm actually sitting and what my target really is. Like I say, I'm basing it on where I was last March, which was kind of 53.5 at stage weight, but I just want to be a bit more definite about it. So I'm getting a DEXA scan on Friday, which will be great, just before I go away to South Africa. So yeah, point for this week is focus on sleep. Make sure you get your sleep in. It's absolutely critical to how you're going. So that said, let's move on to my diet and where I'm sitting. And I think, despite the training and the sleep not being so good, we've had a very good week, and I shall show you that very shortly.
Okay, let's do the week 4 roundup and look at that. I'm absolutely stoked. Um, it's been the last 2 weeks have been incredibly frustrating, and as you saw, they basically my weight was just going nowhere. So the fact that I've had this huge drop this week is fantastic, and I'll show you in a second where that puts me in relation to what I expect to do. But yeah, you can say I could say I'm more than a little bit relieved to see that this week. So come on. Okay, so how have I gone with the diet? Well, you remember last week I decided I was going to cut out some carbs, but I actually wasn't going to calorie match across. So you can see that it's resulted in probably only about 60 to 70 calorie drop overall. So not that much, but it has bumped my protein over 50%, which is fantastic, and my carbs down to about 17. So we're starting to get there, and that's the third change I've made, so that's probably about right. And what I'll do this week, I will take out another set of carbs, and this time I will calorie match across the protein. So the calories should stay the same, but you should start to see the macros changing. So that's the change I'm going to make this week. And you can see I've been an awful lot more consistent. I'm really, really happy with that. I really got my act together, got my food prepared, made sure I always had the right food on hand. So really, really pleased with that. Yesterday is a little bit low. Yesterday was a bit of a crazy day because I had posing clients, and then I had to scoot over to South Melbourne for my own posing routine, and then scoot back for more posing clients. And I just didn't take enough food, so that's why that one's a little bit low. And my refeed probably actually isn't enough right now. A, a good refeed should be about 25% above your normal daily calories. So that would give me about 500 calories to play with. So you can see that I'm only hitting about 400. So I could probably sneak in I don't know, an extra chunk of sweet potato. I mean, I had my usual grilled chicken and brie burger with no tomatoes, the sweet potato fries with the herb mayo, and actually I didn't get the coconut ice cream today, which may account for a little less calories, but sorry, on Thursday I should say, because they'd run out. So I did have an ice cream then. So refeed exactly the same as usual, well, mostly the same as usual. And I can probably afford to up it a little bit, but until I get a really, really good, consistent downward trend, I'm actually going to keep it exactly where it is, because I'm really quite happy with that. But it was interesting on Thursday, even though I had my refeed, I just felt that it didn't even touch the sides, which is kind of a good sign. It sort of shows that my body's really needing it and using it up. So, but I'll keep, like I say, I'll keep it where it is for the moment, and we might investigate putting it up later. Come on, down you get, cat. Sorry, I'm being pestered by the cat. Anyway, so there's the calorie. There's my macro breakdown. You can see that I'm really hitting the protein hard, which is fantastic, and I've dropped the carbs quite significantly. Now, with that massive drop, how am I looking? Well, you can see that I've come in quite nicely. It's a shame. I don't know why the photos are so blurred. Anyway, I'm a bit disappointed that photos are so blurred from last week, but you can see that it's really come off my middle around my waist, which I'm absolutely thrilled about, because I really did have a bit of a spare tire there, so I'm really happy that it's come off my waist. Now we're starting to there's a hint of abs, and I'm starting to get some comments now from. I was at a coffee shop during the week, and I hadn't been there for 2 weeks, and the guy said, "Oh, may I compliment you on the shape of your shoulders?" So I said, "Yes, of course you can compliment me on the shape of my shoulders." So I'm starting to get comments. People are starting to notice that I'm leaning up, which is which is good news. Once the comments start, you know you're on the right track. How are we looking through the rest of me? Again, you can really see the difference in my back here between week 3 and week 4. I'm really starting to get some nice definition coming through my back. And again, from the side, it's really come off my middle. Thank God. Get rid of that beer gut, which isn't actually a beer gut. So good news, looking good. And now let's just flick over to the magic spreadsheet, which you all loved. I've had so many comments about the spreadsheet. So where am I sitting calorie wise? So I'm still probably around about the 5% deficit, between sort of 5 and 7.5% deficit. Now I am going to take the carbs down to 10% this week, and that's about 35 and 60 is 95, so that should have me up at about 65% protein. The reason that it's not coming out as 65% protein on the overall macros is due to the refeed meal, but I will calorie match across this week and up my protein. Now the important bit is down here. How am I tracking? Well, like the first week was, I just went boom and it just came off. So maybe that was beginner's luck. And I was sort of half a kilo ahead of schedule right from week 1. But then the last 2 weeks have just been completely frustrating. And you could see at one point I was way behind where I should have been. But in the last week, it's actually pulled it back nicely, and I may just be a tiny little bit ahead of where I want to be, which is fantastic because I'm off to South Africa at the end of this week. Now, if I can get another half kilo off me this week, that will put me up round about here, which is my target for the day I actually get back on the 26th. So if I can get another half kilo off before I go and then hold it while I'm in South Africa, we're looking just about right. So we're just about on track. So this is really, really good news. Very happy to see this. So I'm so glad I had a big week this week. That's really helped. So I've already explained what I'm going to do with my diet next week. And I'm actually going out with work next week as well. So I'll do a video during the week of how to manage social events. I think that's quite important because a number of people, I think, when they're on comp prep, feel that they really can't attend social events and it becomes all too hard. So I will do a video in the week showing you how I deal with social events. So I hope that'll be helpful. So that's the roundup for this week. We're looking good. So I'm just going to keep it ultra consistent again and hopefully bring it in another nearly half a kilo before I head off to South Africa, which I'm extremely excited about. And that's going to be a challenge because I don't think there's a gym. So yeah, I'm going to have to get very creative with some exercise. I might have to go out into the bush and chase lions or something like that, or be chased by a lion. Yeah, that would shift a bit of that. So we'll see what that brings. I'm going to have to get creative. So anyway, I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you next week.